Welcome to Urban Fantasy PH. We are creatives who live in an urban society and give readers wish fulfillment by way of our stories, which is fantasy but reflective of reality. Here, we get to talk to fellow creatives like writers, authors, artists, comic book creators, filmmakers, you name it. We create and share our art here in the Philippines as well as abroad. My name is CJ Edmunds, I'm your host, and here is today's episode. So what up, and welcome back to another Wednesday episode of Urban Fantasy PH. Our show is aired every Wednesday, both for Spotify and on my YouTube channel. Now, this gives you the choice to listen to us or to see us. My name is CJ Edmunds, and this is the fourth episode of our second season, and we're moving along with more exciting and fascinating guests on our slate this season. Now, our guest for today is somebody who I was hoping to meet in just this recently concluded Comic-Con in January, but sadly he wasn't there. But I also didn't get a copy of his work during last year's Comic-Con in October, but again, he was away from his table, and I didn't get to meet him in person and to have it signed. But, you know, that's okay. I've got him today and all to ourselves. Now, he is a freelance artist, and Hench Dulin, or if you want to call him Henrik, or even Hench, is a 26-year-old freelance illustrator from Tugegarao in Cagayan Valley. And he has been starting drawing. He's been drawing since he was 5 years old, and that did not stop from there on. What was I doing at 5 years old? For sure, I was not drawing when I was 5 years old. I didn't know how to draw. He has also done projects with Filed. We'll probably ask him what Filed is. That's Filed. With their doodle planner, and also LGBTQ++ campaign with Oxfam Philippines, as well as children's books with Vibal Chikiting books, of which he illustrated When Lakan Cried for His Father, as written by Chino Marlo Sayuno. Now, he was also the illustrator of another work by author Monsi. This is entitled Ang Sirenang Takot Malunod. In addition to these, he has also made comics for Comic-It's Kilig, Tuesday Mornings, which is the one that I wanted him to sign back then, and for the compilation that's called Thirsty, a BL or Boys Love anthology, which he contributed the comic entitled Gabby's Special Delivery. So the work that I am holding up to your screen, but alas, we've got a bad lag, so I will just probably put this as a thumbnail so you can guys see it properly. But the one that I have in my hands right now is a comic that caught my eye, and it's entitled Tuesday Mornings. I will not spoil what it's about, but if you love a short comic that will give you all the feels of a blossoming relationship, starting off with an apparent and unconfirmed attraction, then this comic is definitely for you. Let's welcome Hench Dulin to the show. Yoo-hoo!
Woohoo! Let's go. Thank you so much, Sir CJ, for inviting me. Also, good evening, guys. How are you doing?
All right, we are doing good, and nice to have you here. Now, it's great to have you here, Hench. Thanks for taking the time from your busy schedule. Interesting name. With regards to Hench, did you ever ask your parents where they got your
No, I
name?
didn't actually get that from my parents. It was my friends who named me Hench. It's very weird since I've been called Hench since I was in high school, but then I didn't really question why was it Hench. So I guess I just got along with it, and it was fine. It sounded good, so it's me. I'm Hench.
All right, but if we ask your friends, what explanation would they give you or
Maybe
give
it's
us?
just my first syllable, and just added like a ch or something. Then
Probably. But usually, when you hear the word hench, the word henchman comes to mind. So
oh,
you probably would be a good accomplice for something. So that can probably be it as well.
we are all. I mean, deep inside of us, we're all like accomplices of something, aren't we?
Yeah, we are able to hold secrets dear to our hearts because our lives depend on it. But yeah, and hench is probably a short for your actual name, which I may or may not want to
Yeah,
repeat because
my
for
Christian name Henry.
there you go, Henrik, for anonymous purposes, if in case you still don't want to disclose that, but nonetheless you already did, so that's fine.
It's all right. I mean, it's
Yeah.
everywhere. It's on my Facebook. It's on my social media.
Okay, great. So Hench or Henrik, again, thank you for being here. Now, speaking of length, names length, was there ever a debate for you personally as to how long or how many pages a comic should really be? Because I don't know. Perhaps we've all been spoiled by the parameters of Western comics that it should be in this size or within these number of pages.
Actually, that's the hardest thing to do because whenever I try to do comics, it's usually depends on like, what's like my limit for me to like how many pages could I fill in order for me to make one comic. But then like it really
Mm-hmm.
depends how like a story would blossom at the same time. Like if it's really short but it's quite enticing, or like it really hooks you up even though it's like four pages long, then I guess there's nothing much to do on the pages. So
Okay.
basically, if it really hooks your heart, or like if it really gives you that, what, I've just read this first page and I think this got me, so I guess there's nothing much on pages. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay. So in short, for you, content dictates length.
Exactly.
Okay. Were you always a comic book reader growing up?
Oh yeah. I actually started when I was, yeah, since I was 5 years old, and while I was drawing, there were some comic books that my tita from abroad would give us. For
Mm-hmm.
I remember reading The Adventures of Tintin. That's one of
Oh.
the first comics that I read. Although since I was 5 years old, I was just just skimming, just scrolling around those pages and not even like reading the comics. But I do know it's comics, and at the same time, since been venturing also to Pinoy comics at that time,
Okay.
I still remember getting like the old comics on newspaper stands. I was
Hmm.
that old, yeah. I remember buying like I forgot the name. Was it Gagambino? Like that big spider?
Yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah, yeah.
yeah. That was like my first Pinoy comic that I've bought with my, with my school
With your
school fund.
allowance.
Yeah. I really enjoyed that one actually.
Cool, cool, cool. I'm glad that you still remember that. Some people don't. But for me, I don't exactly remember my very first comic, but I remember the first comic that I bought with my allowance money.
Yeah.
Was actually Doctor Strange.
Oh, where'd you
Yeah.
get it though?
Way back. Because my mom would sort of bribe me to go to the dentist. And so she knows I'm
Oh.
kind of like, no, I don't want to go there. Why should I have my teeth cleaned? Why should I have my teeth checked? No, can we do this some other time? Maybe next year. But her suhol to me was like, okay, okay, okay. Let's visit the dentist on Saturday. And then since there's a school supplies shop right across downtown Manila, and I remember that they would have reprints of local comics there
Yeah.
hanging by the store. You can just choose what you want, and she didn't put a number to how many comics
Oh
that I can
wow.
get. So usually
It
I
all
would usually
in.
get three. I know, usually 3 to 4. Lubusin ko na, di ba?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's go to the doctor. I mean, we're not meeting the exact doctor, but it could be your favorite doctor.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And yung suhol mo comic, so that's also good. But look, looking back, comics really has been a good introduction for kids when it comes to reading and being engaged in a story. Why do you
Oh yeah.
think people still have that impression that comics is just for kids? I mean, oh sure, pictures, drawings, pambata yan. But if you want to read something grown up, try something with no pictures, please.
Yeah, I definitely hear that like all the time from people like, why are you still reading comics? Isn't that just for kids lang? So parang it's really, it bothers me, of course. Like, media, it's printed for you, or it's made for everyone. Like there is no limit as to who is gonna read this one. Like books are made for reading regardless of which age, or well, what how old are you, or like your ethnicity, or what race. I believe, I guess people would only say that because they sometimes forget their youth. Kasi
Mm-hmm.
if you're thinking kasi, if you were enjoying your youth, for example, as like, reading your comics, then probably your enjoyment would also you'd also bring your enjoyment hanggang sa tumanda ka, right? So
Yeah.
maybe those people, I don't know. I mean, I'm not judging people who, quote unquote forgot their youth, or like their since people get busy, they get to have their own work sometimes. But it's it's one thing that you'd also look back on some the pretty things, or like the nicest things that you've read through comics noon when you were
Mm-hmm.
12 years, 6 years old, right?
Right, right. And if you're an adult and you want to consciously forget your childhood because you didn't have a good one, then that's another story entirely. But
Yeah,
yeah.
there are so many factors, to be honest. For example, you were a kid, you were enjoying reading books, the comics, all the books that you want, all the crayons that you can get, like all the things that a kid's wonder, definitely. But as you turn older, nalilimutan mo siya. So things get busy. You get graduated, high school, college, and then you get your work, and then you have your own family soon, and then you're having your own son, your own daughter, and then your apos. Yeah, life happens basically, but definitely siguro it's what you bring with life, what you bring with you, siguro, is what makes life sweeter. Like for
Mm-hmm,
example,
mm-hmm. That's
yung
right.
creativity, your wonder,
Mm-hmm.
your love of comics, just stuff like that.
True, true. And I don't know if grown-ups who read comics before would even have thought of it, that if you kept your comics from way back, it's not necessarily a reflection of you hoarding stuff, but
Yeah,
you can look at it as like pamana to your kids, right?
exactly.
And that would be a great introduction for them to reading, because let's face it, with technology these days, and how parenting skills have changed as well and needed to adapt to the modern generation and modern technology. Sometimes people will just give kids an iPad or a phone to keep them distracted
Oh
because ay
yeah.
na, I don't have time for you, and libagin mo lang sarili mo with that. But when you think about, when I see parents do that, I mean, I myself am not a parent, but I
Mhm.
also feel that they're being deprived of something, of priceless interaction with people, and priceless interaction with books and literature. But
Oh,
that's my rant, that's my thing.
yeah. I'm really fortunate with my to my parents, kasi they get to keep sometimes yung mga little golden books, alam mo yun, yung mga
Oh, yeah, 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 yes,
yung mga
yes,
books with that golden rims. We do ang dami naming ganun when we were kids.
yeah.
We would get to
Oh yeah, that we
pull
had
one out
those
from the
as
shelf.
well.
Yeah, and there's also one thing, since hindi naman kami mayaman on that time. Since my mom used to be a teacher, sometimes she sneaks some books that she would photocopy galing sa library or somewhere she got, and then iuuwi niya sa bahay just for us to consume that, even if it's.
Oh.
I mean, that was actually, I was thinking nga nun when I was, nung bata pa ako, parang, why are these black and white? I can't even see the colors or anything. And some words I can't read, but then like thinking about them right now, it's like, it's really sweet. Like my mom's giving me some efforts in order for us to, you to at least read something. Those were like yung I wonder why na books. If you know those books, yung white books na I wonder why the sky is blue, and those series, alam mo yun, you'd see on libraries and stuff.
Right, right.
Those were some literature na nabasa ko din when we were kids. We were dalawa pa lang kami nung brother ko nun. and we get to enjoy reading so much with with the photocopied books lang, and we have fun. We draw stuff from that. We also try thinking still memorizing some stuff there, and it was all good actually. It's
You're
so
one of
good.
the luckier ones. You're one of the luckier ones who get to do that, and kudos to your mom as well for doing that. With her being a teacher, I'm sure education is something that she prizes highly, and education in any form is still education. So
Oh, definitely. Thank you,
you have
mom.
your mom to thank for that. Now, comics these days is a far cry from the comic strips that we see in the papers that depicted funny episodes from everyday life, or the ones that involved superpowered people making a difference in the world. Who would you cite as your idol and inspiration when you set out to create your own comic? I mean, you consciously think of that I have to draw it like this person, and it has to be like it has to have Steve Ditko elements or something.
Okay, I see that. To be honest, I mean, I don't know if this is valid, but like, I don't have any like, uh, how do you say it? Like references to as
Mm-hmm,
to how I draw comics,
mm-hmm,
but
mm-hmm.
I do want to what like whenever I try to make comics, I really do want to incorporate more of the story than like like styles on illustrations.
Okay.
So ever I'd had to pick right now some inspirations, and definitely the comiqueros of Comiket, like the people that I always get to bond with whenever, on the weekends when we try to sell our comics. Like I try to buy their comics. I try to, I also read them, like have their thoughts like on certain stuff or some certain scenarios,
Mm-hmm,
some
mm-hmm.
episodes or topics about what they're writing, and I garner ideas and thoughts of it, and that's why I try to make more comics, since the whole purpose of them making comics is to share their stories. I'd love to
Right,
make
right.
stories.
And as a creative, you don't really question where you get your inspiration from. I mean, you question that you actually get inspiration from somewhere or for someone. Better to have than come from anywhere rather than no inspiration at all. I mean, you'd probably
Mm-hmm.
be scared if anything like that happens. But let's say when you write a comic, I was wondering, do the pictures come first, or should you at least have a running plot before the illustration commences? Now, I'm asking this for me and for a lot of people out there who are intrigued about the craft and the work that goes into crafting a comic. What is the process?
Oh
And
my
is there
god.
such a thing as a standard and correct process?
There, okay. I draw my comics in a unique way. To be honest, I don't know, since you question like what comes first, the writing or the illustrations, right? It's a
Mm-hmm.
bit more of a both thing, since while I'm writing, I have this thought, like for example, when making Tuesday mornings, um, it's actually, you know what, like my mind sometimes is just a wreck. Like for example, when making Tuesday comics, actually it's a long due story, to be honest. Like ang tagal na yan naka-shelf on my mind. Like, you have to make this kind of story where um a truck driver, like a chef in a what do you say this, like a food critic would have a meet cute, and then their story would go further. I don't
Mm-hmm.
have
Mm-hmm.
their visuals yet that time. But nung let's say for Kilig, I guess that was my green light in order for me to make them. So I'm trying to embody like the people that I'd love to draw. So hence, the Tuesday Mornings was born on that day last 2 years
Mm-hmm.
ago, to be honest. And what else? It goes back and forth for me when
Mm-hmm.
writing and at the same time drawing. But
Okay.
perhaps it would be better when I draw. I try to finish all my writings first, and then try to frame them, like the thumbnail them. and then try to like mold them in one page in order for me to at least have a sketch as to how would I plan it to be. And it goes forward from sketching and then outlining, then coloring, then voila, you have your own comic book.
Okay, so obviously, from whether it's be writing or sculpting or anything creative, of course, it starts with an idea, and then you have to sort of
Yeah.
plot the idea. And when you do plot the idea, that's where I guess storyboarding comes in. And
Yeah,
I was
exactly.
wondering,
Yeah, that's the word
yeah,
I'm looking for. Storyboarding. Thank you.
yeah, and I was wondering, how do you decide on how many panels there should be on a page? And echoing my previous question, again, I don't think there's a basic standard to follow in determining the number of panels you're supposed to have per page in a comic, right?
Yeah, I think you should have your own way. You can have your own standards. I mean, standards are there in order for you to guide you, in order for you to
Mm-hmm.
guide whatever stories that you'd love to have, and at the same time, you guide you on which panels would come first, second, or anything. But I guess as a comic artist, you definitely have the freedom. You can have your own take as to you if either you'd follow the standards or you could just make your own and for yeah, I guess that's it. I guess that's
Right,
it.
right. I mean, each creative person, to their own creative process, right?
Yeah,
And
since
like,
like I
yeah,
was
and
oh sorry, I was just trying to add, like, like, since you are the comic art you are the comic artist, you have the liberty of making your own standards, since you also want your comic to stand up, right? So maybe
hmm
from breaking the standards from what you know would also mean a lot in order for you to stand up on versus the other comics.
and like in any creative process, you just edit the number of panels you think you need to propel the story forward. I mean, by drafting, you may think, okay, I want 5 panels per page, and then when you're
Mhm.
done, and then you look back, it's like, okay, I think I have to add one more, or maybe there's too many panels. I'll just subtract and put a bigger half-page splash in the next
Yeah,
page. That will move the story forward. So it really is an organic process, and it's something that
yeah,
that cannot be defined, per standard and per creative. But
actually, yeah.
yeah. Now, before we get to the comic in question that I love, you actually released your first comic sometime back. Was it
Yeah,
2019?
what I think it was 2017 pa nga or
Oh,
2018.
2017. Okay, wait. Yeah,
I forgot because that's so long ago. Like,
2019, 2019.
okay, thank you so much.
Yeah,
God,
yeah.
I'm
Well,
bad at you.
no worries. It's called How Lakan Cried for His Father. The story was written by someone else, as I mentioned earlier in
Yeah.
the intro, named Chino Marlo Sayuno. You were the illustrator behind
Yes.
this, and that's why I know that it's 2019, because guess what? The book just came into the mail today, and I'm holding it up to the
Oh,
screen, even if you
hey.
can't. So I told you online that I ordered it, but I wasn't sure if it's going to come in today. So it came into this morning. So
Oh my
you
God.
know,
Oh my...
yeah, perfect time. So without spoiling anything as well for people, can you tell us what the book is all about and how you came to be involved in the project?
All right, I'd like to tell a story first of how that came in with that project. To be honest, it was quite bizarre since I was just messaged by Chino himself that
Oh,
he needed me to illustrate something for him, and it's a children's book, and apparently this is my first gig on having my first children's book with Vibal and Chino. So I was
mm-hmm.
quite happy since this was one of my bucket list actually to have my own illustration be published on a children's book, and there you go. There, how Lakan cried for its father was born, and Lakan. How Lakan cried for his father is a story of a little child who God, even if I try to tell the story, I guess it gets to be spoiled there.
Yeah, there's well, let's see, how should we like? That's the hard thing about spoilers these
I
days, right?
know.
There's it's
Even blurbs are hard sometimes.
I know. I mean, there's some aspect of the story that needs to be said, but at the same time, you just want to keep it, like just go read it.
Yeah, just go read it. I mean,
Just
definitely there are emotions around. Some children would, experience this, and at the same time, if you get to experience this, there are some cues on how would you deal it. Like for example, this book is for children's 7 and 8, I believe,
yeah,
or
yes,
I
7 to 8, 7 to 8.
since
That's right.
children's between 7 and 8 are vulnerable of vulnerable of their emotion. At the same time, they're aware of their emotions right now.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm,
this on this book, you'd get to encounter how Lakan tried to how do you say it, like parang paano niya na kup yung feelings niya, and how he handled his feelings
mm-hmm.
well
Right,
on
right.
certain event that happened to him.
Mm-hmm. I loved how you use the word vulnerability because that's actually part of my next question. Because
Mm.
that's also, I mean, it is a children's book, but that was my takeaway from reading it this morning. Is that the book teaches kids about vulnerability and the importance of being true to your emotions. And you've mentioned that it is geared towards kids ages 7 to 8, but do you feel that there's a specific age where kids can or should be taught about that, about their emotions? And let's say, like, but if in case you do have a kid and maybe as early as 5 or 6, do you think that is too early to indoctrinate them about emotions?
Maybe I don't know. Maybe in my opinion, you definitely start them, but start them like a little like lightweight, like as they say, parang paunti-unti. Kasi
Mm-hmm.
syempre, you get to how do you say it? Like as a person na nagbabantay ng bata, for example, you just try to listen to them, like speak up, listen to them speak up with their feelings, for 'di ba? And you have to at least like intake whatever they are, ano, 'di ba? They are saying na you also get to consider their emotions as well. For example, 5 years old na parang umiiyak siya, and you have to ask them like why are they crying and what's the reason why they're crying. But parang you get to help them realize like you're crying because of this, like uh you're experiencing this kind of emotion because this happened. So I think that is one foundation for the child
Mm-hmm.
para ma-realize yung emotions. Then growing up, yung nga, 5, 7, 8, the emotions I mean, mas dumarami yung emotions na na-encounter niya. Siyempre, it's not just crying. Maybe, or at the same time, hindi lang sa household, since the child is going to school, going to outside to work. Like, it would be nice for the parents to try to talk and listen to their children. Kasi when I was a kid, oh my gosh, ano na, personal story story time. When I was a kid kasi, I mean, as a gay child way back then, I was in elementary, I get to be bullied as well for me being so flamboyant.
Mm-hmm.
And I really didn't get my emotions back then. Like, why, or at the same time, like me being me, like why are they bullying me and stuff? And I mean, unfortunately, my parents didn't get to help me explain that kind of feeling. But I also tried to at least as by myself as a child back then being bullied. Like I tried to suppress it lang. And maybe this is one thing that the parents should know is like, they really have to listen for their children, most definitely on their emotions, because it's hard for a child to suppress their own feelings na wala silang papakinggan na guardian to help them release their emotions, or like to hear them, right?
Yeah, I mean, especially young boys growing up, since we know growing up, as as young boys, we were conditioned to never show your emotion because I don't
Yeah.
know, it's a bad thing. It will make you look weak, and other
Oh my.
derogatory forms
Yeah.
of conditioning, right? So, and I understand where that's coming from, and it's also good that this book addresses that. So if you are a parent and you're looking to teach your child about emotions, this is one of the books that would definitely help you along the way, or if at least get the topic started to talk
Yeah.
about emotions. Man. Is that the only comic, by the way, that you collaborated on, or there were others before that you released and worked alongside with?
Act- uh for children's book, there's also ang Sirena ng Takot Malunod by Monsi, which
Okay,
I
yeah, you're right.
created with him way back. I think it was still in that pandemic year, 2019, I'm guessing, or
So
2020. I know,
that one came
2020.
after Lakan.
Yes, a few years after. And
Okay,
then
all
this
right.
story is all about the child then, with regards to their sexuality as well.
Mm-hmm.
I really applaud Vibal Chikiting books for this, since they're trying to, post and write certain issues regarding children with, their sexuality, their their emotions, because when we were kids, we weren't really thought about, us with our emotions, with our sexuality. And lucky these kids right now, that they get to, experience this with their supporting guardians or parents.
True. One thing I liked about this book as well is that one part of the upper portion of the paragraph is in English, and the lower part is the direct Filipino translation.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, and it does not deter a parent to like not buy the book and say, "Ay, wag natin bilhin kasi English yan." No, I mean,
Oh.
it's a direct translation, literally. The cover itself has the English translation, and below that, in parentheses, is the Tagalog translation of the title.
Yeah.
So that's a good way of hitting two birds with one stone. You publish one, and you cater both to the English reader as well as the Filipino or the Tagalog
Yeah.
reader.
Right.
So yeah, that's a good move right there. I was wondering, is your family supportive of your freelance venture that you're in? What
I
do they
mean,
have to say about it?
they are actually. I mean, they're now seeing the fruits of my labor. That is.
Great,
I
great,
mean,
great.
of course, they were a bit they were also questioning at first, because both of them are working on the government side. They're working on
Mm-hmm.
a government agency. My mom's a teacher, and my dad is a policeman. So,
Okay.
and me being as a panganay, like the eldest
Oh,
of the
you're the
kids,
eldest.
they were
Yes.
really
Don't we just love
expecting,
the
like, you know what,
responsibilities that are thrown upon
we
us
should
because
all
we're the
get so
eldest.
much benefits with this, right? Diba? So I have no choice but to, I still follow them. So I did. I'm working as a government employee right now. But then things start to, get really passionate in terms of me creating illustrations, and at the same time, like, creating my first comic.
Mm-hmm.
I had, my first collaboration with File, that I made a doodle planner, and I actually told them, like, hey guys, didn't you know that this doodle planner is, you can see it like all across, like, Metro Manila, all around Metro Manila, and they were really happy about it, and they were, and then at first thought they would definitely say like, bakit ba't wala kaming kopya? Sana binigyan mo na lang sana kami ng kopya. But of course, they also congratulated me on that, and they were really happy. And then it just continued. They were quite happy. They were quite happy about it, and it's
Good.
really
I'm
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 really happy.
happy for you that that your parents are supportive of that, because we also must remember that there are some parents who come from a different generation wherein 9 to 5 jobs is the norm and the only way to earn your keep, not like now. And also, as proclaimed by everyone's favorite Neil Gaiman, or the Neil Gaiman, in his commencement speech in the University of the Arts in Philadelphia in 2012, much of the world these days is freelance, and so things are really, really changing, and I'm glad that it is as well. But I still hear, of course, if I will still hear some, I wouldn't say derogatory remarks, but some 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 questionable observations regarding freelance. But of course, how you
Yeah,
process that, it's up to you.
it's also a Pinoy thing. I'm thinking na you really get to honor your mother and father of all the things that they really have to say, like really have to follow them, like filial piety. I'm thinking.
Hmm.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I'm really fortunate to have like very supportive parents on my craft. Then,
And that, that's one of your blessings. Are they avid or voracious readers, perhaps?
oh my God, I tried letting them read Kilig, and I mean they were happy, but then since they were also curious about Thirsty, like I'm really trying to keep that comic off of them, since it's R18. They really don't want
Exactly. It's R18, but no, but take the R18 component out. Do you see them, growing up, like, I don't know, maybe reading a book in the kitchen,
Oh yes,
or fun.
definitely. My mom collects a lot of I forgot this author. I think R.L. Stein was her favorite.
Ah, yes. And he's still writing, and he's still writing.
Yeah, some what else? And my dad used to draw as well, so
Oh,
I
nice.
like a 50-50 from them, right?
Oh, great, great, great. Let's get to the comic in question, which is Tuesday mornings, and without giving away too
Right.
much, we sort of tackled a little bit of that. But
Yeah.
can you tell us what it's about without spoiling, and what was the inspiration behind it?
Tuesday mornings is about like a food critic and a food truck driver who once accidentally, met each other on a Tuesday morning,
Mm-hmm.
and where coffees are refillable,
Okay.
and they start, they start their meet cute on a very nice park, and love starts to spark, and you know
And the
things
and things happen. Okay. Was there a reason why Tuesday was the day that you picked? I mean, it could have been Wednesday, could have been Monday.
Tuesday is actually I've been debating to myself with what kind of day would be really nice for a Tuesday. So
Hmm.
I'm guessing, you'd love to have your coffees on a Monday, but like on a Tuesday, perhaps you can get your coffee twice as much as Monday, since you're trying to, get off like the previous work that you had on a Monday. So Tuesday would be perfect. Great.
Okay, that explains that. All right. I have no further questions, Your Honor. But I love it that it was a natural way of storytelling, of fate and circumstance. And of course, I tagged you on Instagram asking if there will be a sequel to this. So let me
Oh
ask
gosh.
you again. When will we be seeing the next chapter in this blossoming relationship between Johnny and Anthony?
You know what? Let's try this year. Let's try this year. Yeah. When everything is all good, all clean, there's no, there's no jobs to fill in, or like there's walang busy schedules, then definitely I'll be making. I would love to have a series for Tuesday mornings. I do have plans for it actually. So
Yeah.
let's
Do
see.
you think you'll still call it Tuesday, or you might call it Wednesday now? I don't know.
Tuesday mornings, the sequel. I don't know.
Mhm. Well, as we agreed earlier on, content will dictate length. So probably not only that, but it will also dictate the title. So let's not rush it.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
let it be an organic process in the making. And while the comic does appeal certainly to the community of LGBTQIA plus or rainbow readers, it also appeals specifically to those who love bears and cubs. Now, for the
Yeah. I
for the
would love to
unin
speak on that. Yeah, since
yeah, yeah,
I've been
but you know, for
consuming.
the
I've been con-
I'm saying for the uninitiated, there is all
yeah.
this is the bears and cubs. It is a segment of the populace who are more burly than usual, big in build, but huggable as your favorite stuffed toy. Of course, they come in different sizes. They come from different sectors of society. It can even be the person that you have in your family or seated next to you. I had to squeeze in that explanation in
Mhm.
because, of course, for listeners who are wondering, so what are bears and what are cubs? So that's the explanation for you, dear listeners. So my question for that is, and you can speak as lengthily as you want for this one. Is there a reason why you drew the characters that way?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because we don't see any representations of cubs and bears in our comics at this, on where they have their muscle toned bodies and all, but we don't have any representations of the big guys, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah,
So I really have to make it like as big as possible, since gay people can be big as well, right?
right,
They're just
right.
like me.
There you go. I hope I'm not putting you on the spot by asking you, but did you perhaps pattern Anthony and Johnny from people you know? We will not name names, but only if you confirm.
I mean, I could pattern them some with someone. We don't know.
Okay. All right. Yeah,
I
that's a
mean,
bit of
not gonna confirm, not gonna deny, but
okay.
Anthony's there.
All
Johnny's
right.
there.
Okay. That apart from introducing readers to this segment of society and giving younger readers an impression that it's okay if you don't look like the next hunk on the cover of a magazine or the next top model. But how important for you as a creator and as an individual to reinforce body positivity? Because in a way, that's the subtle message that a reader can also pick up from this comic. I mean, body positivity is also the new way of looking at oneself, as spearheaded by a lot of artists we know and love, like Lady Gaga. There's Lizzo,
Yeah.
Sam Smith, Adele, and so much more. Yeah.
You know what? It all, whenever you get to love someone first, you get to love yourself, right? It's the wise words of RuPaul Charles, Charles that told me that. So, um,
Right.
so,
Uh,
so definitely self love is what we are trying to center here in order
mhm.
for us to love ourselves. We have to get to love ourselves, including our shape, our size, and at the same time us, like we have our own, our own unique shape, our body. We as humans, we also get to experience love as well, and love is something that we'd love to share with everyone, right? So
Mhm. Mhm.
as oneself would love their selves regardless of their shape, form, ethnicity, sexual orientations, and other factors. If that person got love and they're willing to share it to everyone or to that special someone, then definitely that is love, that is yearning for.
I agree. Love yourself as who you are and not what others think you should be.
Definitely, right?
Right?
I
Yeah.
mean, the hell people would say about your size, about your, they don't get to feed you. They don't get to give you anything. I mean, it's just you being you. You don't apologize for being you, right?
Mm-hmm. I agree. I agree. If that's the case, then will we perhaps see a more, I don't know, adult themed comic from you in the future that focuses on that and reinforcing more self love issues?
I mean, I'd just say I am very ready for some explorations as to how I try to expand more of my comics. So that is a
Mm-hmm.
challenge for me, and I definitely would love to take that.
Okay. On the topic still of self love, how important is it to have that as a creator, regardless of the medium? Because we know about imposter syndrome. I mean, Neil Gaiman has
Mm,
talked about this, and other creators have talked about imposter syndrome in the creative community, wherein you've created much IP or intellectual property out there and shared it in the
mm,
world, and yet you are still insecure about your own work. And while that is discussed much, the issue of
yeah.
self love, which for me is the best thing to counter imposter syndrome, and I feel that that fails to be addressed.
Hmm. Let's see. I mean, it's really hard. Like, for example, you get to be proud of what you're trying to make as a comic artist, right? And then later on, you get to see like there's someone already doing that, or like there's a story better than that, or
Hmm.
like this story has been, it's been done basically. Like everyone has seen this kind of plot, for example. Whenever I get to, try to, I also I also have my moments as, for as having an imposter syndrome as well. But I do think when I try to battle it, I always think of, for example, if my comic is, my comic is like, it's like a cake, like a big cake, and this comic artist that I saw bake like a better cake, like it's a bigger cake, or it's a tastier cake than me. Of
Hmm. Hmm.
course, the cake creator would say, "Oh no, this person that I'm seeing right now, their cake is like bigger. I bet it's also tastier than, you know, this tastier, and everyone would love this cake." But we fail to see as well the eyes of the viewer, the one who's gonna eat the cake, or basically, or just trying to, who's gonna consume your art. So
Hmm.
a viewer would see that, hey, there are two cakes that I could just enjoy. I mean, they're both lovely, so definitely I'd take a bite on both of them. So that's one thing that I think that, it's not about us trying to perfect. Of course, there could be, our goal is to have our crafts being perfected by, by our standards. But we forget to also think on our consumers, on our viewers, the ones who are reading our comics, that it's okay to have like, both contents out there, since it's the enjoyment of the viewers, kumbaga yung kagustuhan nila, yung that's what
Yeah.
we're seeing
In
right now.
short, the more the merrier.
The more the merrier, basically, right?
Yeah, yeah. We touched about teaching kids earlier on about the value of recognizing their own emotions, but on the
Mm-hmm.
subject of inclusion and gender identity or specificity, and I know I'm
Mm-hmm.
treading water as I say or ask this, how soon do you think we can bring kids into this? Because I mean, others will say that you don't need to tell kids about the LGBTQIA plus community because it's too early, and yet you
Mm-hmm.
will see gay couples who have raised their kids well and have
I know.
allowed them to see the beauty of having different families all around them. Like let's say, take for example, Lance Bass from NSYNC and
Mm-mm.
his husband Michael Turchin.
Yes, I have.
There's also Broadway and Emmy Drama Desk and Grammy nominee. Yes, and damning nominations.
Daming
Shy,
representation. See,
yeah,
Neil Patrick
Cheyenne.
Harris.
That's him. Yeah, he's one of them. Cheyenne Jackson and his husband Jason Landau, who
See,
posted that.
Sheldon Cooper. I forgot his name.
Yes, yeah, Sheldon Cooper. Yeah, Cheyenne Jackson posted that his kids recently admitted that they think they're straight, to which he responded, "It's okay." And
Mm-hmm.
I love you no matter what. Um, the what can you say about bringing kids earlier on into this community and letting them know that this community exists?
Actually, it's perfect since I've also talked to this about a friend back in Tugegarao City, Janine. She was actually telling me, because they're a heterosexual couple. She was asking his like boyfriend, like, what if maging bading yung anak natin, what would you do? He asked his boyfriend, and the boyfriend responded was like, parang, of course he didn't want that because he was born out as a male. And
Mm-hmm.
the perfect response to that, my friend said na parang, you know what, if you're gonna say that, I'm just gonna take that kid and raise it as my own. Like, at least at least, like, ang take dito is dapat pinag-uusapan din siya as early as, when doing parenting consultations, like couples consultation. This would also should be a topic, lalo na sa planning parenthood. Basta basically sa planning on being
Mm-hmm.
parents. Kasi
Right.
it's really hard for the children who just be rejected just because of their sexual orientation, of their gender. And uh it's more of the expectations of the parents din kasi. They really expected, the norms. Like, my kid is gonna grow up straight, and they'd be disappointed because they had like a lesbian kid, or a gay kid, or a bisexual kid. All of the like, yun nga, it should
It should be part
be
of the conversation,
part
in
of the
short.
conversation as well, right? Since um part din kasi ng parenthood is to, to love and accept your kid as who they are, since, they are your kids. You
Yeah,
shouldn't
that's
be,
right. That's right.
hindi mo dapat sila iniiwan just because they're bading, they're tomboy, or they're not straight, as you are, expecting them to be.
Exactly. And, as a kid, nothing reinforces love and self love as well and acceptance from a parent who tells a kid, I love you no matter what. I mean,
Exactly.
these words, these unconditional words, these are the kind of words that kids should be hearing from parents no matter what they decide on their life path. So parents, please take heed. And would be parents, love your kids unconditionally, and they will do the same for you.
Yeah,
They will
acceptance
do
is
the same
really a
for you.
key on a household. Kasi since we Filipinos are we are very Catholic raised, that we are known to have like two genders only, male and female. But the world is changing. Our we have this thing called sexual orientations, and uh gender is also, um how do you say it, it's fluid. So
Hmm. Hmm.
everyone could be of different genders, and you can just still love them because they're kind, they're sweet, and don't just hate them because they have like different sexual orientations. That's really that's really bad.
True. I also mentioned earlier in the intro that apart from from Tuesday morning and the work that you did before, and we also, talked about this earlier on. You contributed last year to Comic Cat's BL, or Boys Love Anthology, which is called Thirsty. The comic
Yes.
that you have there is called Gabby's Special Delivery. And
Yes.
can you tell us how you were involved in that, and how was the process of submission like?
Oh gosh, okay. I was actually surprised since Paolo asked me to also
Ah,
contribute.
okay.
Since, you know, that was a challenge for me, to be honest. I tried to make it as vanilla as possible since I don't really make that much R18 stuff. But I tried
Mm-hmm,
anyway. And Gabby was born as a delivery guy who's so hunky and so, no, in so many ways. And I think
okay.
I don't know, I think I've accomplished, like, I'm having so many feedbacks regarding Gabby and they love him so much, and I guess Gabby's gonna be somewhere else soon. I
Yeah,
don't
he's
know.
he's gonna be he's gonna be a mainstay in some other comic. He'll just pop up. So who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, who knows? He might just pop up on the Tuesday morning comic
Oh, I
when
just
Johnny
don't
wants
know.
when Johnny wants something delivered, and we'll just take it from there.
Oh god. Oh wait, that would be hot. No, that would be hot.
That'll be part of another anthology, I believe. Probably,
Yeah.
yeah,
Thirsty the
probably
sequel, I guess.
thirsty too. Yeah, yeah, thirsty too. TOO, and then there's a bracket.
Thirsty two.
Yeah, and then there's a number two there in the parentheses.
Too thirsty, too furious. I don't know.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. The suggestions will come in. Yes, for sure.
Definitely.
We can probably make a poll for that one. But you know what? I bet you were sort of celebrating when you finally got the news that your work will be part of it.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
Like, did you throw a party or something?
Oh, I actually did like a me party. Like, I was just hugging those two comics in my bed. Like, oh hey, finally they're here. I was
Frame
just
it, frame it,
celebrating in my bed.
blow it up and frame it, and put it in your room so that you'll always be reminded that I wrote that, I created that character, I illustrated that character, and it's
Exactly. It
and
was
it's
my
it's always going to be there
it's
with
so
me.
my it's my part it's my pride and joy, definitely. It was really nice seeing my comics published by Comiket. I've been supporting Comiket you know for a long time, since 2017, 2018, my first convention, and now they were also publishing books, comics as well, and I get to be a part of it, and it's really nice, that their community is blooming and at the same time growing. So it's really, it's a big goal for me, like a bucket list for me, definitely, for making a comic for Killing and Thirsty.
Right. And you know what? After reading it and rereading it again, it certainly serves
Oh
up
god.
a perfectly crafted fantasy for everyone who is in need of it. So, needless to say, you just have to read the comic for yourself and get a copy of Thirsty. And
Exactly.
the best place to do that, of course, is during the next Comic Con, which is at the end of March to April 2 at the UP Town Center. That is,
Yeah.
if in case you were not able to go to the recently concluded one, just last weekend in SM Mega Mall. But Comic Con will always have will spread their events throughout the year. So if in case you missed out one, there will always be the next one
There will
to
be
go to.
plenty more.
Exactly, exactly. So we're sort of like nearing the tail end of this whole interview, and I do have some questions that I always ask my guests, and these are sort of
Yeah,
like
hit it.
creativity questions. I was wondering, do you have any writing rituals before you sit down to write or
Oh
sit down to
gosh.
draw?
I do have some rituals. Oh my gosh. Like
Apart
I
from apart from consecrating your work to the god and goddess.
oh yeah, definitely like sacrificing my spirit, you know? Like
Ma,
ma,
meron ka bang manok diyan? Kakatay na tayo
ah,
ng manok para ano.
kaya marami kaya marami kaming gamot sa manok sa likod ng bahay namin eh because every day is a sacrificial chicken. Gosh, I mean, it's really hard for me to be honest to get me to work. So I try to drink as many coffee as I could. That's one
Oh
of my
yes,
rituals.
the best drink
Gosh.
for any creative. It is always coffee. Sometimes it's already midnight and we're supposed to be sleeping, but our brains are telling us, "Oh,
Oh
just
yeah.
one more page, just one more paragraph. Sige, magkape ka na nga lang para
My
para
brain my brain just keeps screaming coffee whenever it tries to, it try it may a lot like the previous coffee dies down on my system. And at the same time I also try to, open up some tunes while I'm drawing. Might
okay."
try to, get as many pillows as I can while, for me to draw comfortably.
So,
I have
which music do you listen to sort of like get you in the mood to draw?
Oh, that's definitely, I do some random stuff, but mostly indie. So I do
Okay.
get some stomp and holler, and at the same time, like indie rock and pop. Those were like my
Okay.
jams. And at the same time, I also listen to some podcasts, like comedy
Okay.
podcasts.
Nice, nice. Preferred time to draw, day or night or
Nighttime, definitely.
nighttime, so no distractions.
Yeah, exactly. Ikaw lang mag-isa sa kwarto mo. No distractions, no noise whatsoever. Just you and the pen.
Okay, and of course, if the furniture starts to move by itself, and that's another distraction
So
entirely.
that's definitely a wrap. Kung may go. Okay, bukas
It's
na
like,
lang magtatrabaho.
okay, the furniture, the chair beside me is levitating on itself. That means I need to go to bed. No work tonight.
Not tomorrow, not tomorrow.
Yeah. What is next for Hench? What is next on your
Contents
plate?
are apparently, oh god. Next for me, let's see. I mean, I do have some conventions that I'll be attending
Mm-hmm.
soon, some commissions as well. And I'm
Okay.
really trying to at least build a portfolio in order for me to have. I'm my goal right now is to make more comics. So as much as possible, I would love to have more of Tuesday mornings. And
Mm-hmm.
also my first ever comic, ang aking mas tutor. If you haven't seen that, it's been long due since everyone was waiting for a sequel of that as well. So I'm really friends.
I
I'm
don't
really
think I noticed
trying.
that. I don't think I got that in the last comic yet, but hopefully, in
Oh yeah,
when
it's
you
it's in Pen Lab. It's in Pen Lab.
okay, it's in Pen Lab. All right, okay. So I'll try and I'll try and get a copy of that. So that's gonna be another one to add to have you autograph the next time I see you at Comic. So tatlo na yan.
Yeah. And hopefully more comics and more, more
Yeah.
gigs and murals, right?
Hashtag more Cubs and Bears.
More Cubs and Bears, definitely. More representation of the big guys, please. We would love that.
There you go. Any advice for upcoming comic book creators out there?
Oh, just keep on creating. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there are so many stories out there that needs to be, voiced out. There's so many inspirations out there that you could get you moving at the same time, get you start making your own comics. Just listen to the world, what it's trying to say, and you definitely, and if you're that kind of person who loves to um share, to tell stories, most definitely if you illustrate them and you write them as well, then go get your pen and paper, start to write, and let the
Yeah.
whole world tell it.
Right. Don't
Uh,
don't don't let the world stop you from doing what it is that you love.
yeah.
Yeah. For those who are not able to go to comic yet, where perhaps can they get a copy of Tuesday mornings?
They'll be available on conventions. Definitely here next on March here at SM Mega Mall. We
Okay.
have we have some comics as well and some some merch as well on our table soon.
Can they get it direct from you if in case they're not able to
Yeah,
go to Comic yet?
yeah. I mean, you can just message me if there are copies available. Then I'd be gladly to send them to them.
Okay. Which leads me to the next question. For those who want to follow and engage you on social media, where can they find you?
I'm in Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Henchman Draws. Everything
Okay,
at the Henchman.
all the same handle.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Henchman draws it is. Well, Hench, thank you so much for coming onto the show today.
Thank
I
you as
wish you
well, Sir CJ.
most welcome. I wish you more success and more comics that would reinforce self love,
More
acceptance,
success to you as well, sir.
and good vibes to all the readers out there. I hope to see you in future Comic Kit so I can have three of your works signed. I wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be another one. Hopefully, maybe by the next time that I get to see you, there'll be like Tuesday mornings part two. I don't know, but
Oh,
whatever it is, but whatever it is that of yours that I have that is not signed, I will definitely have it signed
I will try my
for
best, sir.
you.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
You're always welcome. Well, that's a wrap for today, everybody. Thank you for joining us in this episode of Urban Fantasy PH. Till the next episode, keep creating, keep believing, and we will all keep reading. Stay safe, stay creative, and namaste.
Namaste.
That was another episode of Urban Fantasy PH. Join us next time as we feature another creative soul who wants their art to be seen, heard, and shared. If you have your own work to share, just email us at urbanfantasyph@gmail.com. Till the next episode, this is independent author, singer-songwriter, radio personality, voice actor, and fellow creative, CJ Edmunds, reminding you to always listen to your heart, create with your mind, and share with your soul. Goodbye, everybody. Namaste. Blessed be.